They say truckers see strange things on the road. I used to laugh at those stories until it happened to me. My name's Jack Thompson. I spent 22 years driving freight across the South, but one night on Highway 27, something followed me. Something not from this world. I've told this story only once, to my son, the night I begged him never to follow in my footsteps. I was drunk that night. Whiskey made my hands stop shaking just enough to talk, but the memory, it never stopped haunting me. This was my last haul, and this is why I'll never drive again. It started like any other run. I was heading south through Georgia, hauling steel down Highway 27. The sun had just dipped behind the tree line. Those tall pines threw long, twisted shadows across the road like fingers reaching out to grab my rig. I'd driven this route dozens of times, knew every curve, every gas station burrito that wouldn't kill me. But that night, something was off. The air was too still, no wind, no crickets. Even the cicadas had gone quiet. I remember gripping my coffee cup a little tighter, telling myself it was just fatigue. Long shifts do that to you. But deep down, something told me, don't be here tonight. My old buddy Larry crackled in through the CB. Hey Jack, you feel that too? His voice was tense. Larry wasn't the nervous type. We'd survived snowstorms, tire blowouts, even a near shootout at a Texas truck stop. But this was different. I tried to laugh it off. Just the road playing tricks on us, buddy. You know how it gets after dark. There was a long pause. Nah, this is something else. Keep your eyes peeled. This stretch ain't right. Then the CB went quiet. I didn't realize how loud my engine was until the silence hit. I was alone. Or at least, I thought I was. That's when I saw headlights in my rear view. Faint at first, then closer. Too fast. I adjusted my mirror and squinted. The truck coming up behind me was an old rig, real beat up, the kind they don't make anymore, rust-coloured paint, half its grille missing. But what hit me hardest was the name carved across the bumper, Ren Eus Eggguide. My blood ran cold. Renegade was legend. A ghost story. That truck burned off the cliff in '96. Driver died on impact. Every trucker from Georgia to Alabama knew the tale. But here it was, right behind me, engine screaming, getting closer. Larry came back on the CB, his voice trembling. Jack, that's Renegade, but there's no one driving. The truck passed me, fast. As it did, I glanced over. No one, no driver, just shadows in the cab. No lights inside, just cold, black nothing. As Renegade vanished ahead, fog started rolling in, fast, like someone opened a freezer door on the forest floor. It swallowed the road. My headlights barely cut through it. Visibility dropped to 5 feet. Then 2. Then none. I gripped the wheel and slowed down, but the fog didn't act normal. It moved, swirled around the cab like it had intent, like it was searching for a way in. And then I heard whispers. Not voices over the radio, inside the cab. I glanced out the side mirror and nearly screamed. There were faces in the fog. Dozens. No, hundreds. Some looked like children, others horribly disfigured, eyes missing, mouths open in silent screams. They floated just outside the glass, watching. Then one pressed its hand on my passenger window. Pale, bony. Too many fingers. I looked ahead. A white figure stood in the middle of the road. A woman dressed in a tattered white gown, her hair soaked and hanging over her face. She didn't move. I slammed the brakes. Thud. Everything shook. I thought I hit her. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it would explode. I looked in the mirror. She was behind me, standing perfectly still, looking up. Then she vanished. Not like she ran off. No. She melted into the fog. Then, tap tap, on my window. I whipped around, nothing there. The radio suddenly screamed. It wasn't Larry. It was 1,000 voices layered together. Children crying, men laughing, someone humming a lullaby. And then one voice whispered directly into my ear, You were supposed to stop. The road looped. I passed the same tree 3 times, same dead possum, same broken road sign. I was driving in circles, but my steering wheel never turned. The fog thickened, turning solid white. My GPS blinked out. My phone was dead. The clock on my dash spun backward. And then, I wasn't alone anymore. I looked at the passenger seat. She was there, the woman in white, eyes black as ink, mouth wide open, hands folded calmly in her lap, just watching me. I swerved so hard I nearly flipped the rig. When I looked again, she was gone. Larry, do you copy? Silence. Then finally, Jack, you need to leave. They're trying to keep you, like they did with me. The voice crackled, warped. Wait, Larry, what do you mean, like they did with you? They took me 10 years ago, Jack. I've been here, watching, waiting. Don't let them... Static. Gone. I drove, I don't know for how long. Eventually, the fog lifted, like it was never there. I pulled into a gas station off Route 8. I must have looked like hell, sweating, pale, hands shaking. I asked the clerk if he'd heard anything about the fog or the woman. He just stared. You said Larry was with you? Yeah, man. Larry Daniels died in 2006. Ran off the road. Never found his rig. I felt sick. Renegade. The fog. The woman. The loop. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't exhaustion. Something lives out there, on that stretch of Highway 27. And some nights, it drives. Some roads were never meant to be travelled twice, and some ghosts never stop driving. It started with a whisper, not the kind you hear with your ears, but the kind that settles into your bones. It was like my instincts were trying to warn me before my brain caught up. I'd been on the road for over 15 years, long enough to know the difference between normal unease and real danger. That night, I felt the difference instantly. I was cutting through a remote stretch of highway somewhere deep in the southern states. The kind of place where gas stations were miles apart and cell service vanished hours ago. It was the route we truckers only took when deadlines were tight, and even then, we grumbled about it. The road had a reputation, a haunted sort of legacy whispered over late-night CB chatter. The fog rolled in fast. I'm used to weather changing on me, but this wasn't just fog. It was thick, unnatural. It clung to my truck like it was alive, stretching across the windshield like hands trying to block my view. My high beams barely reached 5 feet ahead. The road, the signs, even the trees. It was all swallowed whole. Before it hit, the CB radio had been active. Faint voices from other drivers, idle talk, weather reports, the usual. But the moment the fog came, the radio died. No static, no distortion, just silence. I tried fiddling with the knobs, switching channels. Nothing. That's when I first saw him. At the edge of the road, half hidden by the fog, stood a figure. I could barely make him out, but he was tall and thin, unnaturally still. Just standing there. His body seemed to merge with the fog like he was part of it. As I got closer, the details sharpened. He wasn't wearing white clothes. His skin was pale, almost translucent. His face looked smooth, too smooth, like it had been scrubbed of features. But the most horrifying part were the eyes. 2 black orbs, glossy and deep, like staring into a bottomless well. My instinct told me to keep driving. Don't slow down. Don't look. But some foolish part of me, the part that still thought he might be human, made me ease off the gas. The truck slowed beside him. He didn't move, didn't speak, just stared through me with those lifeless black eyes. Then his mouth began to open, not quickly, but wide, far too wide for a human jaw. No teeth, just an empty pit, like a scream frozen in time. I slammed on the gas and didn't look back. My heart pounded against my ribs like it was trying to escape. The truck roared forward, tyres screeching against the wet asphalt. I gripped the wheel so tight my knuckles ached. Whatever I saw, it wasn't right. It wasn't human. And I was damn sure I didn't want to see what it wanted. I drove like a man possessed. No brakes, no slowdowns. I must have pushed through 100 miles in 2 hours. But the fog, it stayed with me. No matter how far I went, it surrounded me like a prison I couldn't escape. Eventually, I found a gas station off a lonely exit. The sign buzzed overhead like it was choking on electricity. I pulled in, parked under a flickering light, and shut everything off. My hands were still trembling. I locked the doors, closed the curtains, and tried to convince myself it was just exhaustion. A trick of the mind, but sleep didn't come. I lay in my bunk, staring into the darkness of the cab, every sound amplified. The ticking of the engine cooling off, the faint hum of the road in the distance. It all felt off. Then that feeling returned, that whisper. But this time it was louder, angrier, closer. I peeked through a crack in the curtain. 3 figures stood outside the truck. They weren't standing like people. They were posed like mannequins, arms straight down, head slightly tilted, each one exactly like the first. Same pale skin, same hollow eyes, same impossible grin. They didn't knock, didn't move, just watched. Then one of them opened its mouth. The sound that came out wasn't human. It was deep, layered like something scraping through metal and bone. It vibrated the cab. It vibrated me. I backed away from the window and grabbed the keys with shaking hands. Click, nothing. The engine didn't respond. No sound, no light, just silence. The other 2 began to move, smoothly, gliding across the asphalt, their limbs stiff, but their motion fluid, their mouths open wide, and from them came this guttural growl, inhuman, echoing, vibrating the entire cab. I turned the key again, and again, nothing. Sweat poured down my face. I was frozen in a panic I hadn't felt since I was a kid waking from night terrors. I kept whispering under my breath, come on, please." Then life. The engine roared, lights flared, the dashboard lit up like a Christmas tree. I didn't waste a second. I threw it into drive and floored it. The truck shot forward, tires screeching as I tore out of that cursed parking lot. I looked in the mirror. They were running. Not like people, not like animals. Their limbs twisted too far, their heads bounced too much. But they were fast, much faster than anything should be. Then, just as I hit the edge of the city, they stopped, just like that. I kept going until the neon signs and streetlights wrapped around me. I pulled into a brightly lit Walmart lot, parked under the biggest lamp I could find, and sat there for hours. Eyes wide, door locked, curtain open. When I finally reached for the CB, my voice cracked as I spoke. "Breaker 19, anyone out there? You guys ever seen something in the fog?" A pause. Then a voice crackled through. "You okay, driver?" I told him everything. All of it. Another pause. Then he said, "You're not the first." That voice opened the floodgates. Other drivers chimed in, cautious, hesitant, but honest. Stories of people vanishing, radios going dead, things in the fog. One guy said he saw a whole convoy disappear. Another claimed to have quit the job entirely after what he saw. Each story had something in common. The fog, the figures, the black eyes, the grins. I should have felt comforted. I wasn't crazy. But the dread only deepened, because if it was happening to all of us, what the hell were these things? I stayed parked there till dawn, gripping the wheel like a lifeline. As the sun broke, I started the engine, hoping daylight would keep the monsters at bay. But even in the sunlight, the fear stayed. I rolled back onto the road, with my eyes scanning every mirror, every inch of highway. The further I got from the city, the more the road stretched, as if the world were thinning out. Then I saw something that made my blood turn to ice. Mile marker 67. Again. I had gone in a circle, the city, the truck stop, the Walmart, all behind me. But somehow I was back. My mouth went dry, my heart pounded. This wasn't just some creepy place. This was a trap, a loop, and I was caught inside it. Fog drifted in once more, like a curtain drawing shut. Shapes appeared, dozens of them. They weren't standing still this time. They were waiting, ready. Their mouths opened in sync, like a silent scream across the highway. I didn't stop, didn't slow down. I slammed my foot on the gas. The truck howled in protest, but I forced it to push harder. The fog grew thicker. The road disappeared. Only their faces remained. Then the radio came alive one last time, screaming. Hundreds of overlapping voices, some begging, some warning, some laughing, and then nothing. Only the sound of my own scream, swallowed by the endless hungry fog. I don't know where I am now, or when I am. All I know is I'm still driving, still stuck on this God-forsaken loop, and somewhere in the fog, they're waiting for me to stop, for me to sleep, for me to open the door.